Hey sports fans, and welcome to the Business Fixer podcast, where we believe that clarity is king and simplicity is queen. I am your host, Haroon Rashid. Today, episode 3, Business Turnaround Lessons from Gordon Ramsay. Yes, the one, the only, Gordon Ramsay. You know, I'm a huge fan of Gordon Ramsay, and in particular, his show Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. And I don't know if you've seen the show before, but basically he'll go around the world, visit failing restaurants, and he will figure out, how am I going to turn this failing business around? So quite appropriate for what I do. I mean, I've been going around, turning around various businesses in my career. And so it's just a show that I enjoy watching for that very reason. But what I've noticed, though, is that once you get past all the TV sort of acting or the storylines and all that kind of stuff, once you cut through all that, there are some really good key business lessons, and in particular, business turnaround lessons, which I think any business can pick up. And even if you're not in a business turnaround situation, I think that the business lessons are really, really good. So without further ado, I'm going to just pick out the common themes that I've found that Gordon Ramsay does in any kind of business turnaround setting. So let's dive in. Business turnaround tip number 1 from Gordon Ramsay is do the taste test. So what do I mean by that? So what's the first thing that Gordon Ramsay does when he visits a failing restaurant? He tastes the food. He's not bothered about looking at anything else. All he's doing is he's doing a sort of mystery shop. When was the last time you did the taste test on your product or your service? When was the last time you did a mystery shop and paid attention to the service your company provides, your staff's attitude, and the quality of the product or the service? I bet that if you did that, if you did the taste test on your product or service, you'd quickly identify the things that need fixing. Quite often, a mystery shop is one of the best ways to figure out what needs fixing in a business. Number 2 in the business turnaround lessons from Gordon Ramsay is raise your standards. One of my favorite parts of the show, Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares, is when he does his audit of the kitchen. And this is the part where Gordon Ramsay loses his shit and he starts swearing and shouting and throwing, rotten meat and veg and all that kind of stuff at people. And, you might have rat droppings on the floor and all that kind of lovely stuff. I know you've got a great mental picture now. But, if you see the show or if you watch the show, you'll notice that this is actually the time when Ramsay gets the angriest. He'll hit the roof because he's disgusted by the lack of standards or the lack of respect that they're giving the customers. If a company's standards are low, then yes, there's going to be problems. So one of the things that I do when I go into a business is I look at what are the standards that we have, and quite often they are low. They're not good enough, so we have to raise the standards. So once people know that they have to, abide by extremely high standards and strive for those standards, you will be in a much better place. Third business turnaround tip from Gordon Ramsay is be honest with yourself about the problem. What makes this a great show is that some of the people are just in denial. They're completely delusional. And Gordon Ramsay has to have some very, very tough conversations with these people. And it requires them to look inside themselves and be honest. And let's be honest with each other. How hard is that? I know there's been many times when I've had to look at myself and say, you know what, Haroon, this isn't good enough, or you're in the wrong, or whatever. But being honest with yourself about the problem is the start to fixing things. So I would say that could be a real turning point. But if the leader is not honest about the attitude, performance, or current position, then it's all going to be in vain. There's no point. So I would really say that being self-critical is tough, but it's necessary. And finally, keep it simple. You know, the next thing that Ramsey does on his list is he sorts out the menu, and quite often the menus are just full of absolute just rubbish. And there's pages and pages of stuff, and quite often you'll see him just reduce that down to 1 or 2 pages. He says we're going to do a few things and we're just going to do them well. Well, the same thing goes in business. You don't have to try and do every single thing and try and be the best at it. All you need to do is figure out 1, 2, 3, just a few things that you can really do well. If you get those right, then that's great. Now you're on the way to actually, turning around your business. So I would say simplify things. There's a great book, and I'll put the link in the show notes as well, called Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink and Leif Babin. And what they talk about is the best plans and the way to execute excellently is to keep it simple. So that is just the best thing I can give you. If there's one thing you were going to take away from today's session, it is this: keep it simple. And there you have it. There's 4 powerful principles you can learn from Gordon Ramsay if you're in business in general or a business turnaround situation. Thank you very much for listening to today's Business Fixer podcast. I really appreciate your time. Drop me a note. Let me know if you're enjoying the show and what kind of topics you'd like me to discuss. Until then, I'll see you next time, sports fans.